Hey.
There, yes.
Repping the brand of the hoodie. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Well, yes.
Of course.
Here in Florida for once, so.
Really?
Yeah, it's about, to me it's cold. It's like 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Which...
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
No.
That's probably like, I don't know, like 15 degrees, 14 degrees maybe there.
We had snow today, so.
Yeah, sorry. Don't get that here.
It's all right for some. How are you anyway?
I'm good. I've just been doing back-to-back stuff, so I'm good. I'm good, though. I'm ready. How about you guys?
We're good. It's been a busy day, so.
Good. Busy as this time.
Appreciate having you here. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You guys are going to be like one of the last podcasts I do in a while, so I'm glad.
Oh.
Fucking result.
Wonderful. How we normally do this is I do a little intro, and then we just throw a bunch of questions at you.
Okay.
It's not a complicated procedure, though. Wonderful. Let's get this underway. Ladies and gents, in the world of wrestling, there are many famous families. The Von Erichs, the Guerreros, the Anoa'i family, for example. But to me, there's only one royal family of wrestling, and that is the Hart family. So by that logic, on today's show, we have a member of royalty with us. Not only is she a Hart, but her father is the figurehead of British wrestling, as far as I'm concerned. A man who I personally embarrassed myself in front of when I was about 7 years old. And that is the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. Here to talk all about her father's legacy is the one and only Georgia Smith.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. Thank you so much for doing this.
Happy New Year.
A Happy New Year to you.
And to you as well.
Thank you.
Georgia, how was now your 2020?
How was 2020?
Yeah, as in how was the year?
Not good. Not that great. I mean, hey, I'm alive, I'm healthy, I'm safe, but I just tried to make the most of it. But I think in general, it was probably the best year for my dad with him and all of the things that have been going on with him. It's been really good. But me, no, it's been very, just a lot of disappointments, but it's all right. How about you guys?
I'm so sorry to hear that. What exactly, can we delve into that or?
Well, just some personal things. And, I was just really looking forward to the Hall of Fame for my dad and WrestleMania. That was just a big, so that wasn't fun. And it's just the whole world in general. It just wasn't good, but I tried to make the most out of it. I tried to turn a negative into a positive and started my dad's, site and started a new store for him and was getting his brand out there, and it's really taken off. So I'm glad that my dad's getting the credit and recognition that he deserves, and new fans are seeing him.
Absolutely. Did you, whilst obviously locked away or whatever with everything you were doing, did you learn any languages or teach yourself to bake or while locked away?
That's a very good question. I didn't really do that. I've become like more business savvy, weirdly, but my brother, he actually learned Japanese. He learned how to make sushi. My brother also got his personal training certificate whilst this was all going on. So he really took this and ran with it. Like, he really took advantage of the time that he had at home because he couldn't go out, he couldn't wrestle, he couldn't make money. So he developed these new skills. But me, I was just trapped away, just on my phone, on my laptop, just trying to get things done. So
wow, fair play to him, because obviously Harry spent quite a bit of time in Japan, hasn't he? So
he was pretty sad about that, and I don't think Japan is allowing any foreigners to come in like at all right now with everything going on. So I think he he had hopes of going back, like, because as you said, he wrestled there for so long and he loves it there, but he's it is what it is.
Hopefully he can get out there once all this stuff is gone.
Yeah. So, I mean, now he's out of his contract and he is officially a free agent. So we'll just have to see where he goes. I don't know what he's going to do, but we'll just have to see.
So Where did we begin with your story? So can you remember what point you realised just how big of a deal your family was in the world of wrestling? Because I imagine being a young kid, it's just sort of that, oh, it's what Dad and Uncle Brett do, just...
Yeah, always like they were just, it was always my dad, always my family. So I never really, they weren't like a big deal to me as they would be to a fan. But yeah, with my dad, when I knew he was a big thing, I think, I always saw him on TV, but that was just, the norm for me. And as you guys will see coming up, or as I've mentioned in stories, I always used to refer to my dad as Davey because, I grew up with him on TV, and my dad was more on TV than he was at home. And when he'd be at home, my mom would refer to him as Davey. So I'm always calling him Davey. And people are always like, why don't you call him Dad? But he's Davey to me. And I remember, I think we were at Disney World, and all the people, like the guy that would be dressed up as Mickey, and like they all lined up and wanted my dad's autograph. And I think that's when I was like, wow, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck want Davey's autograph. Okay, I think he's a big deal. And cool, it was like bring your parent to work day, school day, and like the kids would all just swarm to my dad and like, give me autograph, the picture. And my dad would come and pick us up, like their kids would, gather and be like, oh my God, that's your dad. So I kind of, from then it was like, oh yeah, my dad, that's my dad. But it was also hard too, because at school, kids would make comments that wrestling was fake, or what your dad does is fake, and some things like that bothered me. But overall, I had a really fun childhood, and it was a really fun experience, and I got to travel, and I had a really good childhood, so because of my family.
That's awesome. So with it in your childhood, I was going to ask, like, how was it being raised as a wrestler's daughter? Did it affect you in school and whatnot? Because it must have been quite, I don't know, odd. Because to you, that's Dad, and to everyone else, it's, oh my God, that's the British Bulldog.
Because you'd see, the regular dads, and the regular guys come in. You'd see my dad, who doesn't look like a regular person. From head to toe, if he had braids or whatever, he didn't look like and kids would be like, so if kids didn't know he was a wrestler, they were like, whoa, like that guy is something else. So he would always, wherever my dad went, he got attention. But yeah, in school, it was okay. It wasn't until he died that, I didn't really like people asking questions about him and asking, like, how did he die? And because my dad was in the public. So, it wasn't like I said, a regular dad or a regular person, died. My dad, it was all heavily in the media, and it wasn't fun going to school with that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine, to be fair. But with that though, with his passing, it must have been quite hard for you, not only with school. It's a normal person, their father passes away, then they can stay at home, they can grieve with their family and whatnot. Your dad was in the limelight. Everyone was. Did that make it a lot harder for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. It really did. And, I was never like a scholar. I was never good in school. And, just having to deal with that. I mean, my mom, we had stayed at home to, grieve and all that. But then my dad died, in the middle of May. And then by the time I went back to school, it was final exams. So it was a lot on my mind, and a lot of things that were going on. And, when you're nearly 15, and just that life in general, like, as you guys know, that's an awkward phase in all of our lives, and having to deal with that. It wasn't fun. And, I couldn't handle it really in private, because I'm at a school and having to deal with all of that. So, yeah, it was really hard. And then moving forward with that, and, with the big void in my life, that was really hard, because those times and those days, you need your dad, or you need a dad. And I didn't have that, going into high school and getting advice. What do I do? When I get out of school, and like, as I said, I was never good in school. I didn't have good grades, and, I didn't have the money to go into post-secondary. So it was really hard. It was really hard not having, a dad in my life, and not having Davey it was just him in general. He was needed, but you know, a lot of not negative, but a lot of sad things have happened. But I've tried to, you know, I don't like how things ended, so I'm trying to make it better with him.
Yeah, which is what I love about what you do.
Yeah.
So going back to the school, I've wanted to ask this question for years. So now I've got the opportunity. I'm going to. So in 1992 with SummerSlam, obviously your mom was made part of that storyline. What was that like going to school and people being like, "What's your mom doing? She you know."
Then it wasn't so bad because I wasn't in school yet. I was going into school. That was 92. So I went to school the following year. So that wasn't so bad. But as a child seeing that, it was very sad because like I just, you know, see my dad, Brett, and I'm like, I didn't want them to fight. And like my mom, she was, you know, and all the promos she did and at the stadium, she was visibly upset. And it was just such an emotional experience. So that wasn't too bad. You know, I didn't get it hassled in school about that or anything. But you know, in like the mid 90s when she would travel and the whole like, Sean, I know that you want me and the slaps.
God, I forgot about that.
Yeah. I was kind of like, huh? So what? But I was smart because, you know, I knew Sean and my dad were friends, and obviously, you know, my dad and my mom, they're happily married, and it was just a part of it. But it was, that was a bit different watching that.
Yeah, I can imagine. I actually completely forgot about that Shawn Michaels angle.
Yeah, but he really asked me about that in school. And also when we were in Florida at the time, I was like kind of like in a small kind of, not a town, but like outside of Tampa and Land O'Lakes. And my mom was like a part of the community and a part of helping the school. So she knew the parents and the kids knew her. So they and the teachers knew her. So we were all on the same page. So that wasn't too bad.
That's all right. Because I can imagine that being quite awkward at a younger age to do it.
Watching it was a bit like,
Did your dad enjoy the attention that he got from, like, you know, if kids were absolutely loving him, that sort of thing? Did he actually really enjoy like hanging out, talking to them, that sort of thing?
He did. Yeah, he did. And my dad, I think I saw him twice ever decline like a picture autograph. And one of the times was because we were running late to see my brother. He was doing an amateur wrestling thing, and he was swarmed. And he was like, "I can't right now." And a lot of kids were like really mad about it. Like they were really like, "What the hell?" But it's like, I'm sorry. Like, they were really not happy. And then probably sad about that too, because I was like, why would they say that? Like, why are they saying these things? And my dad's like, "This is my life. Like, you can't please everybody." And another time was we were at McDonald's, and the guy gave us our, you know, my breakfast sandwich in the bag to him, and the guy was like, "Oh my God, you're the British Bulldog," and he's like, "Not today." What? Why? And he's like, I don't want to deal. I don't right now. I can't. I don't want to be British Bulldog right now. But yeah, like the only two times, but otherwise he always stopped, and he always gave his time. And it was as a daughter seeing that, it was always really exciting. Like I took a lot of pride in seeing that because he impacted so many people in person or, you know, on TV and now online and on social media. So many people are like, "Wow, your dad." I just hear like all these positive stories all the time. And, you know, COVID, when I was doing some appearances, you know, some people would tell me, like somebody told me like straight up, your dad saved my life. You know, I was going through this and I watched a match of his and heard his story, and, you know, he saved my life. And I was like, wow. I mean, maybe they just said that for the sake of saying that, but I don't see why somebody would say that. But yeah.
I imagine you must have heard some amazing stories from people that met him over the years. Like I said in my intro, I met him when I was 7, and it's a story my mom loves to tell because it's so embarrassing for me. Because it was WrestleMania 7 had come out on VHS. There was a sign-in here in Birmingham where I'm from, and queued up all day, went to meet him. Mom was like, "You're going to meet the British Bulldog," because he was one of my favourites, obviously. Then I walk up to him with my cassette and my picture to get signed. And what do I say? I look at him and go, "Where's your dog?"
What did he say?
He's at home.
He's at home.
Because whenever my mom tells that story, she does the voice, so I felt I had to do the voice.
Awesome. And that's funny that you say that, because I lived near Birmingham for 5 years.
Oh, really? Where about?
I lived in by a town called Redditch.
Oh, yeah, that's really not that far from me.
Yeah, that's where I lived. I lived between there and Stratford-upon-Avon and all of that. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's funny that you say that.
So obviously you said you watched the product growing up, because obviously that was how you saw your dad on TV. So was there any moments like where you just called him up and like, "Dad, what was that?" Like, prime example, the Shockmaster, because he was there for that, wasn't he?
Yeah, that didn't really come up. The only time like I'd ever really talked to him about it was like if I thought, God rest in peace, God bless Vader's soul, but Vader was kind of heavy with the punches, and I would be like really upset watching him like hit my dad, and it would be the point like where I would just have to like leave the room. That would be something I'd be like, "Are you okay?" And like, what happened? You just be like, my dad was always a good sport, and he was always fine. But as an 8-year-old seeing that, I really didn't like it.
I can imagine, because Vader was not known for pulling back, shall we say?
Yeah, that upset me. And then like another thing, like Harry and I, we would always be like, "What's this person like? What's that person like?" And my dad, he was just really tired and just be like, they're fine, whatever. Like he was off the road. He just wanted to relax at home. And then Harry and I would be like, "Well, what happened here? What did you guys do then? What's this person like?" And Harry, he said, "Major wrestling." What did Papa Shango say? What did my dad's face? And he'd be like, "Yeah, he's all right. But I'd be like, "Oh my God, what happened with The Rock? Can you tell me about it?" Because I had a massive crush on The Rock. So I'd be like, can you like introduce me to him? Like, and my dad's like, "What are you talking about? My God." But that's about it.
So you said, your brother has done some amazing things in wrestling. He's wrestled all over the place, WWE, Japan, his WrestleMania moment with Vince, which is incredible. So were you ever tempted to train and get into the business?
No.
Couldn't shake your head any faster if you tried.
No, it's just in all way, shape, form, capacity. It just wasn't anything that I had ever had any interest in. And, my dad kind of made, my dad, if it was today and if I would be like, I want to get into wrestling, I'm sure he would support me. But growing up, would you want your daughter to be, while the Attitude Era is going on, and if your dad said, "I want to be a girl wrestler today"?
It's a very good point.
Back when I was 9, 10, 11, up, we didn't have like the Charlotte Flairs, Sasha Banks, or the Bianca Belairs, or the Natties. We didn't have those, like athletes back then. And like women, I'm not saying that we don't look up to, but, it was just a very, very different time. And it was very kind of raunchy and sexual. And it just, women being athletes wasn't the number one priority at the time. It was other things. And my dad just kind of said to me, like, "That's not something I want you to do." Like and also there was just, my dad went through so much, and he had, ups and downs in his career, and there was, some politics, and, and my dad sometimes, in my opinion, wasn't treated right. And I think he wanted the best for me and wanted me to have the best life. And he wanted to give me whatever, I was his daughter. I was, his only daughter. So he wanted me to have the best and for me to do something. And wrestling was just like, he kind of laid down that, like, that's something Harry is going to do, because he's, my son, and that's what he wants to do. Harry's, 6'5" pedigree. And also I'm just like, I'm not an athlete. Like I'm not even going to pretend I'm an athlete. I'm not going to pretend, you know, and it's hard work. It is hard work. And anybody that steps in that ring, I tip my hat to you, because it is not easy to go in there and give it, you know. And, you know, sometimes I saw some wrestling practices at my uncle's house, and I just feel so bad for these people. Because, you know, like my Uncle Bruce would like give them these horrible scenarios like that they would have to do. And it's like make a fool of themselves. And watching that, like as a teenager, it's like, I don't want to do that. Like that's what I have to do. And, you know, I'm not saying Bruce did that all the time. Bruce did do training, but just seeing that and all the bumps and wasn't for me. And also with wrestling, like you have to be physically literally on your toes and mentally thinking about the next thing, thinking and like reactions, this, that, getting the audience. Like it is a lot going on and is live. And it takes a certain person to want to do that and to continue doing that. And, you know, now obviously the travel's different, but it's very demanding. And, it's just something I would rather not do. I think I've got not a lot of different skill sets, but yeah, I'll leave that to the professionals and to the athletes, females and males of the world.
You can't argue that, can you?
Did you ever get to go on the road much at all?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. I think that's why like my ears are constantly, because I traveled so much as a young child, but I really love traveling, and I think today that's why I've got like such a passion. I love traveling. Anytime I can get, I do it. And I was very privileged to do that. And if it wasn't traveling with my dad to events on the plane, it was, you know, to local shows, whether he was doing Independence or WCW or WWF at the time. So yeah, I had a lot of fun, and always tried to not bother the wrestlers, because my dad would be like, just don't, like, you know, because you're, you know, as a bored kid, you want to be like, hey, play with me. But my dad would just kind of like leave me be like, you stay with the sewing girls. And I would watch them sew, and they'd tell me like what gear they'd be making that day and what patterns they were using. And that was cool. I like that.
I imagine that is really interesting to me. I quite like to see that.
It was. And he like Shawn Michaels, like they were so at WrestleMania one time, and it was like it was all the mirrors, you know, what I'm talking about, that outfit, and it was very intricate, and I don't even know how long that took, but I know they were like stressing making that, but that was really cool to see. And I just tried to not distract them, but just like sit and watch and just talk to them. But because if I were to like make a sudden move or something, it's they have to do it again. I tried to just keep an arm's distance, but yeah, that was cool.
So I will watch you sew when really I want to be chasing the Rock around.
Yeah. Teenage Georgia.
So I've seen footage of you doing like conventions and stuff, showing off all your dad's gear and other memorabilia and stuff like that, which I'm very jealous of people who have been to go to that, because I would absolutely love to. But what made you start doing this? Was it your idea, or because someone came to you and went, would you want to do this for you? Because I've never seen any like other wrestlers' kids doing things like this.
Very good point. And that's what WWE actually recently told me, exactly what you said. They're like, you're doing what no other wrestler's kid is doing. But no, I didn't inquire about it. I'm, you know, to be honest, like I do love being on screen, but or like being, you know, I do like meeting people and all that, but I'm very shy and I'm very quiet. And, you know, as you guys see on my Instagram, I'm private, and, you know, I just try to have a low profile, you know, and I try to keep my dad's page because he's the big attention. But somebody reached out to me, and they were like, we want you to do these conventions and do this. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll try it. I've only been to like a few conventions in my life, so it was definitely a really cool experience. And I did a few right before COVID, and I was supposed to do like back-to-back ones, and I was supposed to go to Liverpool for that. But it all just kind of happened. Just, you know, it's crazy because I did one, and then somebody else contacted me, and then somebody else, and then just word got around, and I was like, okay, like if this, like, I would love people to see my dad's stuff. And it just kind of worked, and we all had fun. Everybody benefited from it, and I would love to do some more, but I don't know when it's going to happen again.
Now, when you said Liverpool, was that the For the Love of Wrestling convention?
Yeah.
We recently spoke to one of the people that organised that on this show. So, yeah, I could see that going there.
Yeah, we were supposed to do it, obviously in April, and then it got postponed to November, and then it got postponed to May, and now, I don't know, when this is gonna, I have no idea. I hope it, things can go back to normal soon, or not. I don't think we'll ever go back to normal, but as normal, whereas we can, do these things, because, these events and sporting events and, they're a big part of our lives. It's a big thing. So I hope we go back.
So in the shows, obviously you've mentioned it, like you've also started the social media pages for your dad, the merch sites and stuff, and you're trying to do everything you can to keep his legacy alive. And I love it. What did your mum and your brother think of it about this when you went up to them and said, like, I'm going to do this for Dad?
I didn't say anything to them. Because my mom was in Canada. I think Harry was in Japan, and it was 2 years ago, actually. If you saw,
yes.
I did a little post about it, but yeah, it was 2 years ago that I did it. I apologize. I live in Florida, and I've got really loud things, people mowing the lawns and hacking. Or that. One thing I dislike about Florida is that. But I just created the page one day. I was thinking about doing something, and I just felt like in that new year of 2019, I was like, I feel like I should do something for Davey and to really celebrate him. And I felt like there was a lot of content out there, and I felt like there wasn't really any real platform for him. I know there's some fan pages, there's some tribute pages. I didn't think like that was really enough, or that was like, I don't know. I just felt like me doing it, it was more suitable and more appropriate for me to do it. And as you guys have seen pictures and videos that you've never seen before, where a regular, another fan or another page wouldn't have. And I've seen, Bruce Lee's page, his page on Instagram, his daughter runs that. And she's really taken that by storm. And I was like, I really like how she's got like these really cool pictures of Bruce Lee. And I just started it one day, and I just said like, hey guys, keep following the page, post whatever. And my dad literally has like thousands of pictures and videos that I haven't even added yet. Like I've got so much, obviously the family pictures and the personal pictures I will run out of posting because, can't get any more. But all these things that fans have submitted and videos, just like that's why my dad is an icon and a legend, and legends don't die. He's got so much that like it's going to just keep continuing. And now his brand and everything, it's grown so much that now I've and as we'll talk more, he signed to a business agency that's going to help me, because I can't do it all by myself anymore with him, because he's that busy.
That's awesome. I love that phrase. He's that busy. It's great. I love it, because it is him. It's his legacy. I love it.
Exactly.
So do you think all this work that you've been doing to promote your dad's legacy and whatnot is what led to the Hall of Fame induction?
I mean, I don't want to be like, yeah, it was all me, but Michael Finney, England, and where does Michael live again? He lives in near Nottingham, I think it is. But a longtime Heart fan and my dad's fan, he started a petition for my dad back in 2013, and he got like, I don't know, nearly 30,000 signatures, and that was just Michael by himself, like just promoting and buying videos of celebrities endorsing it. And I only did a couple of events in England, but he would give me, he mailed me the binder or like forms, like, can you take this to the events? And I would get people to sign it, or get people wherever I could sign it, and I would send it back to Michael. He would do the count and add it, and he kept going it. He did that on change.org, I think it was. And, you know, he was trying to get up to 50,000, and he got so many. So as you guys know, like 30,000. And he would mail, whenever he got like a new 1,000, would mail it to WWE, mail it. And I think he really helped get it out there. And it wasn't until WrestleMania in 2019 was when WWE approached me, and they were like, you know, how's it going with your dad's Hall of Fame stuff? And I'm like, you're asking me how's it going? I should ask you how's it going. My dad. But I was like, well, you know, they're like, what have you been doing to keep it going? And I was like, well, you know, a fan of his has started this petition, and he's gotten all this, and I've got his stuff. And they're like, okay, interesting, okay. But I think they knew they were putting it, but they were just like, oh yeah, okay. Like, I don't really know what their rhyme or reason was for asking me, but they're like, you never know. I mean, you never know. And I was like, well, you know, Harry and I live in Tampa. Davey lived in Tampa. WrestleMania is in Tampa. It's only appropriate. And they were like, we know. I mean, hey, never know. And I was like, all right. And then came, you know, February of last year, and I was like, I don't think he's going to get inducted. I don't think. And then lo and behold, I got the message, and I got told by my brother, like, yeah, he's inducted, and we can't announce it until March 12th. And then, you know what happened March 12th? Everything closed down. But that's the way it was. But yeah, they just and I did a WWE interview for my dad's. I've done a lot recently for them for my dad's upcoming documentary. But a big thing that they brought up is, like, you know, you've really boosted your dad's stock, and, you know, because of what you've done, his popularity, like today he is so massive, and his name is so popular, and it's been brought up more than it has been in like the past, I don't know, nearly 20 years. And they're like, and that's because of you. And I said, well, if I had anything to do with him getting into the Hall of Fame or any help with that, like, thank you. Like, but, you know, I believed in him going in it, and I wanted him so badly to go in it, and he deserved it. And some people can be like, well, it's just a Hall of Fame. It's not even a real wrestler. No, but my dad's career was in WWF and WWE. And that's where I believe he did his best work, and he's most well known for. And he is the most famous British pro wrestler, and he needs to be celebrated. And, you know, people can be like, well, it should have been done a long time ago, overdue. But you know what? I think that to a point, yes, it should have happened, but I wouldn't want Davey to be, you know, celebrated in like Chicago or, you know, Detroit or something. Like, if he's going to be anywhere, I believe it should be Tampa. And that's what I think. And I don't know what their plans are coming up, but I think things happen the way they're meant to. And, you know, I believe that now with me doing his social media and everything, it's all leading up to that. And whenever his induction happens, it's just going to make it even better, even more special. So, yeah.
I was going to say, have you heard any news on that?
No, haven't heard anything.
I believe, and I imagine you're hoping that yourself and your brother get to induct him.
Yes. Yeah, we will for sure be. When it happens, we will be. And, you know, when that time comes, I have a bulldog ready who wants to come on stage.
Amazing.
So I think that would be really cool to have she wants to join, and she wants to come in, and she's used to crowds. This bulldog, she went to football arenas and would make her hellos. So she is comfortable with audiences. But, you know, if it is a virtual ceremony, you know, she'll be doing that as well, you know, in case PETA or something's got a problem with it. So.
No, but as you were saying, you know, I was so happy when that announcement was made that the bulldog was going in, because, as I said, you know, as a young British kid, he was wrestling to us, and there's two names that have been missing from that Hall of Fame for the longest time, according to fans, and that was the bulldog and Owen. And obviously, Owen's probably not going to happen, which is understandable, to be honest. So it's great to see that Davey's getting in. So I know the Hall of Fame hasn't happened, but WWE Icons, the new documentary series on the network, is happening. And I watched the trailer the other day for that, and it looks brilliant. It looks like they've done a really good job with that. So, can you tell us much about it?
So WWE had contacted us about it back in July, and they said, we're doing this series, and we're going to be filming you soon. And I was like, okay, and that was back in July. If you guys ever see like cryptic things on my dad's posts, like big things are coming, like honestly, there are big things, but until I get the confirmation to announce it, then that's when I'm like, okay, show's on. But yeah, they had told me that back in July, and then it came to September, and I'm like, are they still doing this, or like what's going on? So I emailed the one guy, and we all did a Zoom interview, and he told me the lineup that they had, and they were like, but you have to keep this confidential because like we can't let know about it. But they were focusing at that point on like the 30 days of Undertaker, so they're like, we're really busy with that, but as soon as that's over with, we're going to be filming you guys and doing that. And they gave me the names, and what else happened? Yeah, so then we brought my mom here in October for her birthday, and they just told us like, okay, well, while your mom's there, we're gonna film, and they filmed us like back to back to back, and they still have to film me for more stuff. So my dad's thing isn't completed yet, but as you guys can see, they've got Beth Phoenix, they've got Yoko, they've got my dad, they've got Rob Van Dam and Lex Luger. Is that it? Am I missing anybody?
I think that was all of them.
And they just felt, with Davies, and a big thing of it, the topic was his social media. And they just asked my mom, they asked me, they asked Harry, like, why do you think his social media is so popular? What do you think of George just doing it? Like, what do you think of how it's grown so much? And, I think thankfully my dad's gotten all this attention, which is great. And because of that, they chose my dad for this documentary. Very, very grateful about that. But it's just about my dad's life and his career, and, why is he an icon? And it was, you're gonna see a whole side of my dad, another side of him, and of Harry and myself and my mom. And it was a really, the experience of it was really good, but it was also a very emotional experience. And it's hard, on camera when you've got like all these people in your house, and you're okay, tell us this. And that was having that, I felt like a little bit of pressure, but I just told them straight up, I want this to be as natural as possible, and I want to be as real with you as possible. And this is really important to me. And I want you guys to hear, how great of a person and an athlete my dad was, and, how much he means to all of us. And I said, so, I'm not just going to give you like these like answers like, oh yeah, it was great. And I was like, I want to really, tell you my story. And they were like, oh yeah, cool. But yeah, I hope that comes across. I hope, you guys enjoy it. I've really, as you've seen, and that's the thing, I wanted to put my heart and soul into it. I didn't want it to be just like, like these put on answers, like these written scripted answers. I wanted it to be real, and I'm really proud of it. And I gave it my all, and I hope my dad, I hope he's proud of it. And I hope you guys are really happy with it.
I've no doubt I will be. It looks, like I said, from that 12-minute clip they put out, it looks amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I'm sure you've absolutely smashed out the park, because obviously at the moment he's the most well-known moment at the moment is obviously the Royal Rumble 95 when he goes over the top rope and when Shawn doesn't fall out, whatever. I know what I meant.
You meant, I know you.
Yeah, because obviously they show that clip every year, but I'm absolutely guaranteed that you've smashed it out the park, and it'd be unbelievable when they release it. So I'm really looking forward to watching it. I truly believe that the Bulldog and maybe William Regal really paved the way for British wrestlers now, because obviously they were probably the biggest two going at the time throughout the 90s and stuff like that. So I feel like the Bulldog really paved the way for British wrestling to, go into the American scene sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And like, that's what this was all about, was because like he is the biggest British star. So I feel like him, Yoko's story and Lex's story. It's crazy because they all have like these different stories and different trials and different. So I'm really curious to see how it's all how they're all put it together. But as well as I've got them in contact with Lennox Lewis, so I'm hoping he'll talk as well.
Oh, of course, he came out of him at SummerSlam, didn't he?
That's cool.
You're reminding me of things today.
I know. So I want Davies to be really, really special.
That's awesome. So we briefly did mention British wrestling then, and obviously British wrestling now is nowhere near like it was before. You know, it's got its own division with the WWE now. British wrestling it's incredible now. What do you think your dad would think about the British wrestling scene now?
Oh, he would love it. I wish so badly he was here for it because he would love to be training the people. He would love to give them guidance and advice. I think he and you know what's crazy is I believe like if it weren't for my dad, there would be no NXT UK, in my opinion. William Regal. Like I believe that those two really, really paved the way for that. And, you know, a lot of those wrestlers, they were, you know, inspired by my dad. You know, when I first met Paige, she was like, your dad is the reason why I got into wrestling. You know, and hearing that, pretty cool. Like, and, you know, I've met some other wrestlers in NXT UK, and they're like, oh, your dad. I'm like, I know. And, you know, WWE that, you know, they know that, and that's why they're celebrating him. So
it's awesome. So we've got to ask, as you are a member of the Hart family, if there's one thing you hear all the time from the Harts, it's crazy family stories. Is there a particular favorite Hart family story you can share with us? I had the caveat of that you can share with us.
I mean, not the top of my head. There's just been so many things, but if this gives you guys any nutshell, well, my cousin Ted, he visited over this past holiday weekend, and let's just say I'm saging the house. So
that says it all, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, finding sparkles and glitter everywhere. So tired. So that's, I mean, if that doesn't give you any insight, then yeah.
What's it like to be part of the biggest family in wrestling, though?
Biggest, oh man, it's you know, we're good people. We are, you know, we're a little weird, a little dysfunctional, a little different. That makes us who we are. And you know, I have a lot of pride in my family, and you know, they put Canada on the map, and if it wasn't for my family, you know, my mom and dad wouldn't have ever met. You know, I wouldn't be here. It's just crazy how life works. But I have a great amount of pride, and I'm lucky that I had the life that I did. And you know, I really wish I could go back to being in the Hart House with my cousins and with my family, and just a lot of really good moments. You know, on a personal level, and you know, they've created the biggest wrestlers. You know, the best wrestlers of all time, in my opinion. And, you know, seeing them, you know, their legacies and memories live on today, and that will forever. It's really cool. It's, I'm very lucky. I know a lot of sad things have happened, and we've lost a lot of people, but, you know, just remember everything, the good things. And I'm very blessed.
Definitely.
No,
That's awesome.
but yeah.
Now, look, so I think you're doing an incredible job keeping your dad's legacy going at the moment, because like you said, there was nothing for the British Bulldog not that long, for a couple of years ago. And now they're releasing new figures. You're selling these T-shirts. The Instagram pages are going off the wall. He's going in the Hall of Fame. There's a document. It makes a British wrestling fan so happy. But
I really appreciate that, because sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough. And you know, but I believe that, you know, whatever. And that's what I think that why it's worked so much. Cause do you remember that wrestler, Adrian Adonis?
Yeah.
Yeah. So his daughter reached out to me and was like, how did you get your dad in the Hall of Fame? What can I do? And I'm like, whoa, like people are asking me, and I don't really have like a recipe or a secret. I just, it's something that I care about. And I believe when you care about something, you make an effort and you want it to work. And just like with anything, like if you want to lose weight, well, what are the steps you got to do? And if you care about it, and you put little things of effort in it each day, you're going to get a big result. It's just like with anything. If you want a relationship to work, and with my dad's thing, it was something that I cared about, and I wanted things to happen for my dad. But every day, as you guys have seen, every single day, I've never, ever skipped a day where I haven't done anything for my dad. And that's not going to stop. And, I'm not going to let, I know people are, companies are helping me, but like, it's always going to be overseen by me. And like his social media will always be ran by me. And that, as I think it always should be. I think I'm the only person that can do it justice. So, but that's why I believe it's been a success. It's because I put love and passion, and my dad's done all the grunt work. I'm just helping. So,
but no, you're doing it, and Harry as well. Like when Harry came over here a couple of years ago for the World of Sports recording, and he was labelled as the British Bulldog, and the commentators and everyone were like, "He's the son of Davy Boyd." It's like, yes, come on, back on British TV and everything.
I know. Yeah. Harry's he's wrestling as Davy Boy Smith Jr. And I feel like, Harry, he's really found his own. Like, I don't know if he's going to continue wrestling as Davy Boy Smith Jr. He might just go back to Harry Smith, but I feel like my dad has helped him with finding his confidence and who he is.
Yeah. And like I said, you've both done an incredible job keeping his legacy alive. But what do you think your dad would want his legacy to be if he was to look back?
Well, if he was here, he'd be like, well, I don't know. But I think opinion, I want him to be remembered as and WWE asked me that too, as the best British wrestler to come out of England, in my opinion. I think he would want to be known as that. And, he's a history maker. My dad is. He made history. And, with Wembley Stadium. And did you know my dad was the first wrestler to ever have pyro?
Really?
Yep. 1994, yeah.
I did not know that.
Entrance. Yep.
That's amazing.
Random history, but he is a history maker, and there's never been another Davy or another, in my opinion, another British wrestler like him. But if my dad was here, he'd be like, well, I just want to be remembered as David Smith, and just a good guy. But he was so much more than that. He was a hero to all of us, and he impacted all of our lives so much. And he's an icon. The man is an icon. That's why we're still talking to him, talking about him today. That's why you're talking to me. It's because of him.
Yeah. Like I said, some of my favorite memories as a childhood, I was a huge wrestling fan as a kid, like I am today. But, that WrestleMania 7 video I was on about, when he broke the Warlord's full Nelson, I almost jumped out of my seat. I was so excited and happy watching it. I remember playing on my bedroom floor with my Hasbros, with my little Davy Boy, doing my running power slams on everyone. It's, especially as a British wrestling fan, he spoke to us. He was amazing.
Yeah. And all of his matches, he could do it all, like he could move like a small guy, and he was just the total package. And I wish he would have just gotten the world belt once.
Yeah.
But that's all right, because he's in the Hall of Fame. So it's all right. It's okay. But I feel my dad deserved so much more, and that's why I feel so strongly about what I do. And that's why I'm and was at the time in people's faces and pushing and trying to make things happen. It's because my dad deserves more. So.
Yeah, absolutely should have held the world title. I do completely agree with you on that one.
But he did take the greatest people's elbow ever with the sliding when the rock's in his loafers. So
yeah, that's my dad took the best world. What was it? People's elbow.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say rock bottom. I was saying rock bottom was more like that. But yeah, just little things that now are like coming up. It's like, oh yeah, that was like the best ever. And he's and I'm not saying my dad was ever forgotten about, but WWE, they're constantly on to the next thing, and you're seeing people all the time on TV, and then when you don't see them on there, it's kind of like they're not there. And there's been a big chunk of time where he hasn't been there. And first nearly 14 years of my life, that was my dad's life. And then to watch Raw after and SmackDown and things like that, so it was never really the same to me. But now I think obviously he's not going to be back on TV, but I think it's changing a lot. It's with me putting him out there, and he's made his new print, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But before we move on to a little game we like to play, Tom, have you got anything else?
I just like I said before, I think you're smashing this out of the park. You're really doing your dad justice. I think you're doing incredible work, and I truly believe that he paved the way for British wrestling these days. Like you said, NXT UK wouldn't exist if it wasn't for him. So yeah, I think you're doing an absolutely unbelievable job. And I think you should just keep going. Just keep going, Georgia. You are killing it. And I look forward to the Hall of Fame induction whenever that actually happens.
Wow, thank you so much. Like that really touches my heart, and I really appreciate that. And I'm glad that it's taken, like, people are noticing. I'm glad, like, people like you guys who are genuine fans and appreciate the product, and so thank you. And one of the, as I mentioned to you, like, this is going to be one of my last podcasts, is because it's lots of things are happening and I won't be able to do them anymore. So
that sounded a bit saucy, didn't it? Ooh.
So I'm really grateful for you guys and doing this. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all. Now, we like to play a little game with our guests, and it's called the Quick Fire Round. We ask you 6 questions, and you just answer them as quick as you can. Simple as that. Favorite pizza topping?
It's cheese.
If you had to tag team with a second generation wrestling daughter, who would it be?
Charlotte Flair.
Good choice. Favorite cartoon you watched when you were growing up?
The Simpsons.
I was waiting for that reaction from him. Favorite concert you've ever been to?
Spice Girls.
Amazing. I saw Spice Girls a few years ago. Most obscure piece of British Bulldog merch you've either seen or own?
I have a Bulldog stuffed toy from the 90s with dreadlocks.
They sell those in the magazine. I think I remember those. And we're in a world where Chris Hemsworth is going to be playing Hulk Hogan in a movie. Who would play your dad?
His name is he was in Happy Valley. That guy. He was the main guy from Happy Valley. I can't remember. James something. You remember that show, Happy Valley?
No, I don't know that one.
Oh, it was filmed in England. It had the blonde lady from Coronation Street. She was it was like one of the older women from Coronation Street. I think she's moved on since then, but she was in a British show called Happy Valley that I used to watch, and they only did 2 seasons of it, unfortunately. James Norton. His name's James Norton. If you look up James Norton, if you guys hear his accent, I know you guys are like, oh, he's skinny, but when you watch his acting and he does the northern voice so well. I think he's from London, but he's just really, really talented, and I think he could pull something off if you just give him a tan, and like if he puts on a little bit more weight for the role, I think he would be a very good Davey.
I just looked him up. I love how fast you answered that. You've thought about that before, haven't you?
Just a bit, yeah.
So if they're doing a movie about your dad, then you're going to be in it. So who would play you?
Who would play me? Well, it would have to be a young me, or would it be an older me for like the past and the future?
Ooh, we'll do you now, and you're telling the story. You're the narrator.
And I'm the narrator.
Yes.
I'd be the let me see. Can I go with Julia Roberts, I'll say.
That works.
Because she's in Pretty Woman, she's got the same hair as me. So
That's very true.
I'm gonna go with that.
That's amazing. George, before we get out of it, please plug any socials, anything you want people to check out.
Yes. So my dad's Instagram is at, people always say you need to change it, but this is his name and it was available. At the British Bulldog, Davy Boy Smith. That's his Instagram. His Facebook is just the British Bulldog. His Twitter is @ Davy Boy Smith. Mine is my Instagram. It's private, but I can accept you. It's at Georgia J Smith. And my Facebook is facebook.com/Georgia Smith 7. And my Twitter is at Georgia Smith 87. So those are all mine. I know it's a lot of information, but yeah, those are mine. And please check out my dad's website. It's www.davyboysmith.com. You can see his training, his diet, frequently asked questions. If anybody has questions that they want to ask, please make sure they're not rude or disrespectful, because otherwise you'll just get removed. But yeah, those questions you can ask on there, or view questions. And, you can see bits of news of Davies and, things about me, things about Harry, things about my mom, things about Davy, all on there. And any Davies merchandise, that's his new web home.
Incredible. George, thank you so much for doing this. And I feel honoured that we're your last podcast for a while, for whatever these suspicious reasons are.
Well, that I'm going to do, but yeah, let's just say a British Bulldog Team Davy movement is taking over, and that's going up. So yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I'm glad we started this new year out doing this. And I can't wait for you guys to see the 2021 icons. No,
normally I can't wait to see it. And I'm going to have to order one of them hoodies you're wearing, because I keep looking at them for I really want one of them.
Yeah, back of it. This is from Davy's store, WrestleMerch Central, and it's made in the UK, so you won't have to pay crazy shipping costs. It's not made in London.
Amazing.
Massive result. Georgia, thank you so much for being a part of this. We really, really appreciate your time. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you guys. And just I don't know what to tell you about the lockdown. Just have some drinks.
Get drunk. It's the most British thing to do.
Make it fun. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for having me, and till next time.
Yeah. Take care.
Thank you very much.
See you later.
See ya.